Hello, I am Roberto, and today I will introduce the idea of task analysis and how we can model them using concurrent task trees. If people have a different expectation of an interaction from how it has been designed, then it feels hard to use. Stuff doesn't happen at the point or in the way people want it to. With a task model, you're aligning the two things. You can design it the way how people expect them to work. Task models describes how activities can be performed to reach the user's goals when they are interacting with a system. They have shown to be useful for designing, analyzing, and evaluating interactive systems. What we try to do is understanding what people want and finding how to design it for them. By finding out the steps people go through and the decisions they need to make. Then we base our design around that. This method supports usability and is flexible and expressive. There are different techniques to do task modeling. One of them is based on the decomposition of tasks into subtasks. In the past, usually, hierarchical task analysis was used. Like you can see here, this is an example of a hierarchical task analysis for making an online purchase. Another alternative are concurrent task trees. We will go deeper into this technique. Concurrent task trees use an expressive graphical notation for task modeling with a precise semantics. It has a high-level description that can also be understood by people without programming background. A very nice thing is that there exists also a method to transform them into a conceptual user interface design. We focus here on the activities called tasks. We try to avoid low-level details, like for example, click on F7 to do something. That's already too much details. But enter your name is a good example, because it can be doing in different ways. The same for edit. Here, you have an example of a CTT. Like you can see, it's also based on hierarchical decomposition of activities. You see each time which subtask to perform. In addition, it also shows the temporal relationships between tasks in the way you can express. For example, which task has to be done first, next, etc. And we also distinguish the different categories of activities, like what can be done with a computer, by a human being, etc. But I will go deeper into this now. Actually, we have four categories. The first one is when task is completely done by the user. Like for example, making a decision like answering the phone, and the notation used to express this looks like this. Then we have the application task, and this is done completely and only by the computer. Like for instance, checking a login and password, and the notation used to express this looks like this. We have also the interaction task. They are very important for our interface design. Here, the user will perform a task while interacting with the computer. A typical example is filling a form or editing a picture, and this is the notation used to express this. Finally, we have the abstract task, and it is used for the tasks which require complex activities and has to be decomposed into subtasks. Like for example, a user session, and we use the cloud to represent it. And now let's get deeper into hierarchical decomposition. We use a tree structure to decompose the task in different levels of abstraction. At the top we have the most abstract level, and at the bottom the most detailed level. Like you can see, T1 is the most abstract task and is decomposed into T2 and T3. We read this like, in order to perform T1, I need to perform T2 or and, depending on the temporal relationship, T3. There are a number of different temporal relationships. The first one is the order independence. Tasks can be performed in any order. Doesn't matter in which order the task is performed. Like you can see in this example, When you want to install new software, we can start by either registering or implementing the installation. Like you can see, it's decomposed into two tasks. You can also see that registration is an interaction task because the user needs the computer to do it, and implementing the installation is still abstract. This can still be decomposed later. So with this symbol we indicate that it doesn't matter if we first do the installation or the registration or vice versa. Our second temporal relationship is choice. You can execute two or more tasks, but once one has started, the other one is no longer enabled. It's one or the other, not both together. Make sure that the task that the user has to choose from have an interaction task to start with. Otherwise, the user will not be able to make the choice in the user interface later on. For example, accessing a website is decomposed into either browse the website or into access some information. So if you are browsing, you cannot access some information anymore. The next temporal relationship is interleaving. Tasks can be performed in any order or at the same time, including the possibility of starting a task before the other one has been completed. For example, manipulating a file is decomposed into printing and editing. I am editing a file, then I can decide to print it, and during this I can still edit the file. There exists also a special case of interleaving. It's interleaving but with information exchange. It's actually saying that two tasks can be interleaving but they need to exchange information. For example, editing a document and reading the same document because you want to see what you are editing. This is the symbol used to express this. We can also express true parallelism. Tasks can be performed in true parallelism. Like for example, to retrieve an email and send an email can be done at the same time. This is the symbol used for. Our next temporal relationship is deactivation. It's when the first task is stopped by the activation of the second task. Like for example, a user can edit a document until the document is closed. When the document is closed, he can't edit the document anymore. And we use this symbol to express this. To specify that the second task cannot begin until the first task is performed and finished, we use enabling. For example, a user cannot formulate a query until he has logged in. And we use this symbol to express this. Then we have also a special case of enabling. It's enabling with information exchange. It's like enabling, but also it specifies that information produced in first task is used as input for the second task. For example, the system looks for a document only after that the user specifies its ID, and the results will depend on the ID that is specified. For this, we will use this symbol. Our next temporal relationship is suspend and resume. It's used when the first task can be interrupted by the second task, and when the second task is terminated, then the first task will be reactivated from the state reached before. Like for example, when we edit a document, it can be interrupted by using the help button. While help is performed, it's not possible to edit anymore. And then when we finish that, editing is resumed, and if the user needs help, he can click again on the button. It will interrupt the editing. This symbol is used for this relationship. We can also express iteration using this symbol. With iteration, you have to be a little bit careful. Iteration can be endless. We don't want that always. So, to stop an iteration, we have to use a deactivation task, like we can see in this example. If you want to make a task optional, you can use brackets to express this. We can also express recursion. If we want to do that, we have to decompose the task and then use this task again, like you can see in this example. A user can browse for a product. Browsing is done by selecting a subcategory, after which the user can again browse. And we express this like that, by using brackets. We have also some rules. All children of the same type must have parents also of this type. Like you can see in this example, we use an abstract type for selecting a room, but it should be an application task. If the children are from different types, then you have to use an abstract task for the parent. Here you have an application task, and here you have an interaction task. So you must have here an abstract task. A same task can appear in different subtrees. If it has exactly the same name, it has exactly the same task. You don't need to repeat the decomposition afterward. No need to model it again. And we also read from left to right. The temporal relationships are always in this order. Then there are also priority rules. It's a bit like in math. You also have priority rules. For example, you do first the multiplication, then the addition. So multiplication has a higher priority than addition. The same for temporal relationships. So like you can see, choice has a higher priority than interleaving and independent. Order independent has a higher priority than disabling. Disabling has a higher priority than suspend resume, and suspend resume has a higher priority than enabling. So enabling has the lowest priority and choice the highest. Nota bene, the same task can be modeled in different ways, and each model may result in a quite different user interface. Let's do a little exercise. Take a pen and paper and try to answer the following questions. What do the following temporal relationships mean? Which 4 task categories exist? And are the following sentences true or false? And if they are false, correct them. I used the following sources for this presentation and based it mainly on the course of Olga de Trooijer Conceptual Modeling and Design Methods. Thank you for your attention and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time for more adventures.